Hey guys, so I'm late and I have a reason why. So before I tell you that we're having to pivot today, hello, welcome to our last live of the year. And it is so crazy to have those words come out of my mouth. I'm Kelly Walters, and thank you so much for tuning in live and, of course, being patient with us as we had just a wee bit of a hiccup. We are having to pivot on our project today. And then, of course, my computer was like, you must restart. Your camera is being used somewhere else. I have no clue how because there was no camera open anywhere else. So you've got to love electronics. And if there's anything that I have learned from 2021 and of course 2020, because I feel like it never really ended, is that it's all about pivoting. So tell me, has anybody else felt like they have had to just completely pivot? I mean, do a 180, 270, 90 degrees, whatever, just to make it through the year? Because my goodness, what a time. Okay. Ooh, birthday cupcakes is better than birthday cake because there's multiple. I just know that I love cake. So if it's in a cupcake form or cake, I don't care. Cake is cake. Give me all the cake. There was something else that I was eating the other day, and I know I said I'm pretty sure I might like this more than cake, and I don't. Oh, cookie dough. That's what it was. Okay, I'm going to move my light just a little bit. I'm going to show you what we were going to do. And the only reason being is because I have done this project on 3 other different things. And through the entire project, I was finding different hiccups. And while I love to teach you guys something new or show you what you can do, I also kind of want to show that things can be inconsistent. So always testing is key. And then we are going to go over cutting instead of an actual project today. Just because the project that was completely planned, I can't get it 100%, but I'm going to still show it to you. So 1 second while we just adjust. Hi, Patrice. Yes, I know I was late. Don't be mad at me. And I need to also make sure, I think we're okay with that. Okay, so like I said, we will be not doing what I really, really wanted to, but let's just go over that for the first. Patrice. Yeah, you and Shayna should. Man, we should have prizes for like things like that. I'll take it and we'll try to run. Okay, so let's see. So I have been playing more with canvases. As you can see, it's right here. The project that we were going to do today, as it's all cut out, was creating like a senior sign. The word track and field was also going to be down at the bottom of this. These are all just transfers ready to be applied. Like, this is my project that was set aside, to execute. And where I was noticing the hiccup is I couldn't get one of our materials to adhere. And I don't know the reason being because I've used it again on another canvas. So it's just really interesting, and stuff like that really intrigues me because you would think that there wouldn't be any hiccups, but just like garments, you might get something to adhere and then you have another garment and you think it's the material failing when it could actually be the garment that you're using if there's any type of coating. In this particular case, I don't know because it's just not working. I was even letting it cool down to see. you guys. I got it to work. So we're moving forward with the project today. We're doing it. And if it means we got to let it cool, I really, really, really want to do this is my happy dance. Okay. Let's rock and roll, people. All right. So we are going to create that, that canvas. We're going to do it. We're doing it. But we do need to go ahead and cut our art, because the art that I had used to just see what was going on, I used it. So the first thing I want to talk about is the materials that we're using. So sorry, Carly. Carly's on the other side, and I was talking with her about 20 minutes before our time was in, and I'm like, I'm having hiccups. I don't know why. I've, done X, Y, and Z for YouTube yesterday, and then of course, lives just love me. That's why. Okay, so we're using soft flock, not in this color. And then we are also going to be using soft foam. And then we're going to be using ultra weed. So those are all CAD cut solid rolls of material. Like I showed you, I did already cut and weed. I was going to have them all cut and weeded. That way, all we could do was apply. But because I was doing some of my testing and decided to go ahead and use the good transfer, we got to cut one, which is okay, because there's some education in this as well on what type of blade to use. So if you're doing more detailed designs, and if you are even working with thicker materials, I strongly encourage you to start messing, trying, playing with a 60-degree blade. I have been an avid 45-degree blade user for almost the 5 years that I have been with Stalls. And part of that was stubborn. I didn't want to change out my blade. And also, I hadn't ever really had an issue when it came to details in the artwork that I was using that I really needed to change my blade. And we talk about using a 45 and a 60 in the details in the user guide online. We give recommended cutting specs. So the how-tos are out there, but from a personal standpoint, the 45-degree blade has always worked great for me until the last couple of months, where some of the designs that I have been doing, I just wasn't getting the type of cut lines that I was prior. Now, this was the perfect example that I knew I needed to get out the 60-degree blade, because when I was using that soft flock, I knew I wasn't going to get the detail that I was. So we are going to cut with a 60-degree blade. It's already in my cutter. So I'm just going to send the artwork that we are using to my Roland, and then I'll weed on camera, and you can just see how smooth it's going to weed. Now, soft flock is a warm peel. So if you're ever having issues weeding something that's warm or hot, you can warm it up with your press, or we have weeding tables to help warm up that adhesive, which means that removing that material from that carrier is going to be much easier. So I'm not going to show you the difference between a 45 and a 60 in cutting terms, because I'd have to get out my blades, switch them over, and if we have time, I will. But what I do want to show you is what that 45-degree cut looked like. And of course, there we go. In the midst of the panic and chaos that was going on prior to hitting that live button, it was like, just throwing stuff. So this is what one of the designs that we're going to cut, this is our top layer of soft flock, look like using a 45-degree blade. Now, if I am cutting Premium Plus, Ultra Weed, oh my gosh, Glitter Flake, Chroma Bling, like I can just go on and on and on. My 45-degree works excellent. But when I switched out from the 45 to 60, like you'll see just how clean. On this Jaguar or Cougar, look at those. That's awful. Like that's not pretty whatsoever. But just to show you, this could be beautiful. This should be nice and clean when it comes to cutting and weeding. And even here on this K, I'm trying to look. Oh, this R on, sorry, Vanna skills need to be worked on in 2022. This R is torn. So if you're ever one of those that's like, oh, that material is awful to work with. Okay, why? What makes it awful to work with? Is it the carrier? Is it too tacky? Is it not tacky enough? Is it your design? Do you have too many cavities in a vinyl substrate? When you go to weed, are your cut lines too deep so the material is harder to remove? There's just so many questions to go in asking yourself, why is this so complicated? So if you feel like you can't get a pretty cut line, then I strongly recommend you changing out your blade. Now, when it comes to craft cutters, I know there is a ton of different blades and tools that you can use. And if they make a different blade that's a different degree, then I do recommend that you go and purchase that, try it out. And I would think most of those places have a good return policy that if it doesn't work, I don't know. So I'm just saying what I would do, right? Okay, so we're going to set this guy aside. This was with the 45. We're not doing that. But we're going to cut a 60-degree. So let me pop up CADWorks Live and show you what we're cutting. And the reason that we are going to CADWorks Live instead of the Vinyl Designer is I can send my design from CADWorks straight to my Roland. And that's just going to be so much easier in terms of use and live viewing. So let's go there. For those of you that are not familiar with CADWorks Live, it is a free website. It's works with an X, not a KS. And it is a cloud-based platform. So if you're designing, let's say at your office computer, and then you go home and you want to continue working, then you can access your login information, your same files, all of that stuff. So let's go to my CADWorks. Now, this is the design that we're using. Let me take off. Let's see what we can. There we go. Oops, sorry. I'm trying to make it to where you guys can see, but we're just going to remove that. Okay, so this is something I designed completely in CADWorks Live. Okay, so this is not a special template. This is just something simple that I had used with some clip arts that we had, basic font, script. I did a knockout on, this was just an oval, again, clip art. So this is just something I created. And if you wanted to do something like this or offer it for your customers in Etsy store, you can easily customize this and change very, very little. The hardest part would be the letter and then whatever the mascot or clip art element is that you're using. So from here, all I'm going to do is go to send to vector cut, and then that is going to pop up the cutting program that I use for my Roland GS24. Okay, now I am not going to show you guys the vector cut, just because, again, I wasn't even planning on going over that part of, you know, our project today, due for time. So instead of like stop sharing all of that fun stuff, we're just going to send a cutter and I'm just going to walk you through what we're doing. Let's see if I'm missing any questions. Yeah. So this is like the best thing that I think you can do is always ask yourself questions as to why something isn't working. Sometimes if we just assume it's one thing, then the other thing is really going to just sneak up and it's going to start causing more and more issues that you weren't really prepared for. Also, thank you on the design. I'm not a graphic artist, but I have visions. We try. Okay, so the next thing to keep in mind is if you go from a 45 to a 60, your force is always going to change. And of course, if it is a brand new blade, your force is always going to change. To give an example, I was cutting at 200 grams using a 45, and I went down to 140 using a 90-degree blade. So just like to always just keep that, you know, in the back of your mind. And while they can take time into your overall design and project, then just know that those times are going to save you on the back end. And they're also going to save you money because no one wants to waste material because you cut a poopy design, right? Can you tell I have kids? Okay, I'm going to go load my material. Give me just a quick second to set that, and I will be right back. While I'm away, ask any questions because it always takes a couple of minutes for those to load in. And then just imagine the best like Jeopardy waiting music ever. All right, so we're going to use green flock. I don't know if you can hear the fan on this, but I feel like this is a cutter that can always get kind of loud for me. But now the next thing is that I am down to just a sheet. Like I said, I wasn't planning on having any hiccups. And because I gave up on the bad design. If you guys cut your own materials, you don't order in services, you can still send in your artwork and we can cut and do these for you, especially if you're going to do a group design versus personalizing. That's always a nice and easy way to avoid any type of weeding as well. Now, what I'm doing now is just making sure that my piece of material is actually long enough. Since I do have a sheet, I just want to make sure I'm not going to mess anything up here. Okay. So we are actually good to go on that. Thank you guys for being patient with me. And it looks like this is going to be like the perfect sheet. Let's see. Might have to adjust. All right, so we are going to make this work for us. And all I'm going to do is shrink down one of the letters. So instead of applying as one sheet or one transfer like I would normally love to do, we are going to have to cut this apart just so I can make sure that I have enough material. Okay. One more. We're going to change our length. All right. So that is cutting. And if you did see, I do have the camera right here so you guys can also see how easy it is to weed. Now, while that is cutting, so here's one that I did. This is a canvas. These are flat canvases. Okay, so it's an 11 by 14. I purchased a 6-pack at Hobby Lobby. I think it was 20 bucks. I don't remember the cost, but you know, they always, it might have even been 13 because of promos, but this is where I got that. Now, the vision on this is to add a ribbon, do a frame around it. They could take this and go get it framed themselves if this is something that they wanted to hang in a room. Even as seniors do senior pictures. So maybe this is something for the 2023 senior that you could, you know, think about. Is I don't know if this is something that they could have in pictures. So I just feel like there's a variety of ways to do this. But as you see, this one is a cute little donut, almost kind of Valentine's Day. So it does work. It just didn't want to work with me this morning. Okay, so that's cut. I'm going to go cut and get our design, crossing fingers that everything is good there, and we'll weed, then we'll heat apply. She's clean. I love it. Okay. So this is what it looks like cut. And just look how much cleaner those cut lines are for that jaguar, leopard, cougar. Just so much better. So while this is not my day. Okay. So I'm gonna have to weed. This is gonna be good, guys. So I'm gonna weed like this. Other camera died. Someone send help. Okay. Yeah. All right. So like I said, it is a warm peel, but because our cut lines are just so much better, the ability to weed is just more effortless when it comes to a script or even other types of design. So if I wanted to warm this up on the heat press, I easily could have. And then instead of fighting with the fibers on the flock, it would just easily lift. Now, do you guys do any type of, home decor? Do you decorate any types of stuff like that? Are you one of those where if your customer just says, hey, can you create this for me? And then that's what you make. I would love to know what our viewers' business is, since this is a little bit more of specialty and it also is in line with sports. Let's see. All right, so I'm telling you, I was so confident it was going to work, and of course now I'm having issues weeding. Panther, yes. Guys, why is it Carly? Are you just behind the scenes right now going, what in the Hades is going on? We're going to apply it. I'm still going to show you, but this was the design that I was working on and testing earlier. The black, or excuse me, the green main layer was more of just a test. I had to pivot in colors due to what I was doing. But just to show you, you guys, that is the flock right here. Look how clean that is. Of course, just had some issues with weeding, and it's just telling me that today is not my day. We win some, we lose some, right? So what I was originally having issues with was actually this soft foam. And I strongly believe that it's me. I was rushing the gun because it's a cold peel, and these canvases hold in heat. So we're still going to apply. I'm still going to show you. And depending on the time that we have left, I might try to cut a different color. And those of you that want to stay can. But we are going to do some of it just so I can show you. Now, I used a Hotronic 16 by 20 auto clam, and then I started to play with our flexible application pad, and I found that was excellent to use with the Ultra Weed and the soft flock. Where I struggled a little bit was the soft foam, where I was talking about analyzing what is really working and what isn't. Was the flexible application pad is a great way to absorb heat and protect sensitive elements around, to where if something doesn't need extreme heat, then it kind of takes it. It helps with scorching. There's just a lot of really cool things about this flexible application pad. So as I was creating the Don't Ever Leave, I had noticed that I was putting so much heat into these boards and they were just staying there. So I needed to find something that was going to help cool the board down, but still, work with the adhesive, right? The other thing is I completely adjusted the temperature. We don't need to worry about washability. We don't need to worry really about wearability. Nobody's wearing the canvas. And the other thing is, longevity wise, this is just going to be something that is either going to be hanging on a wall, sitting on a dresser, framed, right? So there were some elements that we just needed to not necessarily have at the top of concern. So from 300 degrees, I went down to 260 and even went down to 250, just because we had the ability to do so. So what I am going to do now is try to find a way to let you guys see the press. Turning my whole monitor just for you guys. All right, so it's not up close and personal, but we're gonna take it. Okay, so we went over the canvas. The black is metallic black Ultra Weed, and then the royal is CAD Cut soft foam. So we've got our flat, we've got some dimensional, and then the flock was going to bring in extra texture and more dimension. Where's my canvas? So let's go do this together. We are at 260 right now, and I just found that was kind of the sweet spot. We're going to put our Ultra Weed down first. And then we're going to do our soft foam. And I am going to recut that dang panther. But we're going to have to cut it in a different color because I am out of that green. Okay, so easiest way for me to find my center. This is nice because this is the main part of the design. We don't have to worry about lining this up, and this gives us a really good guide to just keep moving forward. And I'm going to start up as close to the top as possible because I know on this 11 by 14 board that I am using the majority of the length available. Now, the beautiful thing about Ultra Weed, it is a hot peel. I still encourage you to peel gently, especially on something like this, knowing the little hiccups that we have kind of experienced. So I am going to press for 25 seconds. And if you do use a flexible application pad, then we don't need to increase our temperature. We just need to increase our time because it's going to take a little bit longer for that heat to go through the flexible application pad, getting into our heat transfer material. Hello, guys. How are you? Oh, just whacked myself. Okay. So, like I said, now we're just going to peel smooth and gently. And our first layer is done. So very, very easy. And because it is that black metallic, you can see just a little bit of a sparkle in it. It's more of a, what is that than like true sparkle. Now, this is a cold peel. Like I said, it is the soft foam. And it is so true that it needs to be a cold peel, especially on this type of project. I've been able to peel warm on some sweatshirts and other projects that I've done. But because this board holds heat, it is so important that it actually cools down. Now, I'm not going to use the flexible application pad on this, and that's just because out of the trial and error that I did previously, I had found that I really needed to do some more testing with that to make sure that, there we go, we're getting the right type of, actual heat that needs to go through it. All right, so I am back in my CADWorks Live, and because, let's see, I might be able to get away with not using or doing that full size like I really, really wanted to. Okay, so this guy right now is extremely hot. So I recommend removing it from the press. Take it away. It feels like it's hotter on the back than it is the front, and don't touch it. Just let it cool down, set it aside. And then I am going to grab the gray. I have a gray flock. Let me go grab it. All right, so it's charcoal. This is the color that we're going to use. So instead of the green, it is going to be a little bit more muted with this. Now, a good example of what I was saying was to make sure that your design would cut just fine. And the only thing just gonna just reload this. Now, I am doing a test cut, which I thought we were good with the last one, but life. All right, I think we're good. And then now let's just send that design right back to the cutter. Now, unfortunately, it was still I think it's a 12-inch roll. So I did have to adjust my font just a little smaller than what I originally had it set for in the first one that I showed you. That's okay. It's not going to look, worse, but my cuts weren't deep enough. Okay, let's see. Do you guys have any questions? Do you have any plans going into the new year? Business questions, projects that you're working on? Send anything and everything over. That way I can kind of help get you what you need. Ooh, okay. So uses HTV to create custom blocks and labels for t-shirt quilts. So fun. So are you creating those blocks and selling them individually, or are you creating those blocks and building the t-shirt quilts to go along with what t-shirts are sending, people are sending in t-shirt wise? Very, very cool. What type of materials do you use to make those blocks? Not like the fabric, but like the not the substrate, the vinyl, the material. Oh. Let's see. You guys are cracking me up. Okay, so it's done. I'm gonna go cut it, and let's just. All right. Let's see. I'm gonna warm this up just a little bit. So all I've done is just set it carrier side down on the press. It's just so it can warm up some of that adhesive. Okay, while that's heating up. Okay. Yes! I'm so excited. All right. So we got our soft foam to adhere. So this is nice and has a little bit of dimension, as you can see from that bee and that ultra weed. We've got a little bit of a satin look with that metallic, with that matte, and then that flock is going to come in looking like velvet. And because chenille letters are here and making an impact, flock is the material of choice. Now, let's see. Hooray! Okay, let's see. Carrie said, creating to use the t-shirt quilts. Lots of times using the back of the shirt or maybe coordinating fabric, mostly ultra weed, but oh, cool. Yes. So since people are cuddling, I'm not going to be able to multitask, guys. Try flock, because it is one that I recommend with blankets, fleece, and then same thing for soft foam. Those are excellent choices. The soft foam is very, very lightweight. and still kind of has a velvety feel. There's just not really any texture to it. It's very, very smooth, where this has a velvety feel, but textured. The easiest way, I know it says foam in the name, but it's really like that foam sheet that you get, you know, from a craft store. Okay, we're getting closer. I know I need a new blade, or excuse me, a new cutting strip, and I think that was more of a sign as well. All right, so that's flock. This was definitely a much better cut. Now I'm just going in, removing all those little parts. There's only a few, so it's really not that detailed, but if you're able to use a mascot or design that has those cavities just kind of blended together, then that is definitely the way that I would go, just to make your life easier. But a lot of times if we're given mascots, then those are what is required by the school. Can't tell what's going on here. There we go. Just a couple more, and then we will be able to add this guy on top. Beautiful. See, that is what, oh, here we go. This way, down. There we go. So much better, right? Than that first one that I showed you at that 45 degrees. That's using the 60 degree blade, and the weeding process was just even better. Even though I warmed it up just a little bit, it was more so I could keep the flow going. Weeders. I've got two right here. I have 3 scissors in this room. Could not find one. Now, because I had to shrink our track and field, I'm just going to cut that off. We're going to do the best that we can to make sure that it is centered on the project. And then weeding out little cavities in our class of, throw those on the ground. Oh, I got too excited and ripped a letter, so let's fix that. Okay, so we'll go apply this. It's a warm peel, and then we will also add that track and field at the same time. Okay. So easy. All we have to do is line up the class of and the B. What is happening? You guys, this design is too big. Okay, well, we're going to cheat. I don't know how many times, like, this could have possibly gone wrong, but it did. And because I can't just surrender to this project, we're cheating. Okay, so I used the exact design that I did the first time, and it's larger. Man. So I need to go a little bit longer just to keep it going. That one was only at about 25 seconds. No, that one was at 8. So we're going to cook it at the 25. So, hi. Man, oh man, I was so bummed, so happy at the same time because I thought we had turned a corner. Come to find out, I cut it too big. So this is what you guys are going to have in your mind about what it's supposed to look like, because I'm bummed, but someone tell me it's okay. So as you can see, we do have a little bit of dimension. It looks better in camera than what I think it does in person. I mean, it doesn't look bad in person for being the green on green. You can definitely see the texture. It kind of looks like a metallic, but it's not. It is that soft flock to give that velvety feel. I do think a little bit darker color would probably be better to have more contrast if you were to take it like this. So Patrice, you're my hype woman right now. Thank you. I appreciate you. Okay, guys. Well, I'm going to go take my canvas and put myself in the corner now. So this is the gray. I just put it on there because I had to show you that it could be done. So essentially we would have had the charcoal outline the bee and then fill in that class of everything is nice and adhered onto this. Knowing that we were at 260, 25 seconds for most of the layers. That's how I would go. If you do want to do a project like this, then I would do your own testing and see what you can come up with. I'm still determined to use that heat flexible application pad and get that temperature down more, simply so I cannot cook the board as much. But that's me in terms of determination. So this would just be a really, really fun way to offer to your schools, change up the mascot, personalize it. If you want to do something with awards, then you could turn around and do the team picture on the back. You could turn around and put sign vinyl here. There's just so much that you could really do with this board. You could do a certificate as well. And then, of course, you can always have fun and do something really artsy like this. This would also be a really good birthday type of sign. If somebody wanted to order it, then you could personalize it, have a birthday cake. There's just so many ideas. So if your niche isn't sports, then you could turn around and use it for, kids, if that is what your niche is. Let's see. Oh, yay! Oh, man. Listen, I have been planning this project for at least a couple of weeks. It has been in my mind to execute, and I will conquer this. It's just funny how, it's like when one thing goes wrong and then it just starts kind of the snowball effect. So, guys, I'll hang out for a couple more minutes. I'm trying to adjust my computer to get my life back in order. Feel free to ask any questions. Like I said, thank you so much for hanging out and bearing through this journey, because we got it to cut and weed beautifully, just like it should have. But then the design overall was just too big. So now I need to go to my CAD Works and figure out what in the heck had happened. I will tell you the size of the design, and I know exactly what was going on. It's an 11 by 14 canvas, and I did 10 inches in width That way I would have about half and half on each side. And I think that the upper was like 13.2. Let's see what it says. 12.62. So maybe I adjusted it a little bit and my settings didn't save in CADWorks, and then I had to restart my computer, and we all know what happened there, right? Well, thank you. I appreciate this because I try not, to be anything other than real life happens. And even though I'm pretty sure like my sternum is like bright red right now, but that's okay. We'll get through it, right, guys? Really quick, does CADWork connect with SNC? What is SNC? I'm sorry, Carrie, that I don't know this. Shayna, by the way, hi. I don't know what SNC is. So CADWorks is just a platform. Let me show you this really quick. So this is the platform, right? Right here, there's just a plugin that sends to VectorCut. And VectorCut is software that you can download that can, let me just pop that up, go to a variety of different cutters. I don't know, honestly, if it can go to every single. I don't think it does, Carrie, but you can export and import. Same thing for the Vinyl Designer. So the Stalls Vinyl Designer is very similar to CADWorks. It's just a program that you access through stalls.com versus cadworkslive.com. Completely different logins, but the Stalls Vinyl Designer is the same login for your Stalls account. They're both free. Both of them, you can also import artwork and export. The only difference is CADWorks has the ability for that plugin. So it goes straight into my cutting software, which is what I use for CADWorks. So let me show you. So this is CADWorks. And make sure it's showing you. Yep, it is. Okay. So as you can see, this was the design that I was working with. Right now I'm at 10 inches in width, and 12.62 in height. And I know I am a little bit longer than that. So I'm thinking the edits that I had made did not save prior to me having to restart the computer, which just added all sorts of chaos into our life. So in this particular case, if you see right here where it says cutter, there's all of these that are already preloaded. I just don't know if you can add another. Like I have used the Graph Tech. I have a Silhouette, so I might have to play with that and see if I can get those to connect. I just use the Silhouette Cut Studio if I'm using my Silhouette. And then the GX24 reads my GS24. So I don't think Brother Scan and Cut can. I would check. So if you go into properties, then as you can see, these are several things that I have connected. So I'm curious if it would pop up in here. I wish I had a direct answer for you, but hopefully you can see. Let's see. Oh, Patrice. Well, I hope you enjoy your walk outside. It is 48 degrees here in Kansas City, but it still feels really nice, believe it or not. You guys, if you celebrate Christmas, I hope you have a Merry, Merry Christmas. And for those of you that are not wanting to get out of 2021, then I'm sorry, hold on to it for as long as possible. Those of you that are ready to rock and roll in 2022, I am right there with you. And I hope you guys have a magical New Year's Eve, and welcome 2022 with love. We are not doing any other lives the remainder of the month, and Jenna and myself will be back January, I think it is 6th. It's whatever that Thursday is. And then shortly after that, we head to Long Beach. So if you guys are going to Impressions in Long Beach, please come say hi, and safe travels. All right, guys, we'll see you next time.